Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Today, I'm going to be talking about Radical Rick.
Smash JT.
Radical Rick, the critical satire YouTuber who recently crossed over 5,000 subscribers and is going through quite the, we'll say, controversy on his channel currently, dealing with some what seem to be illegitimate copyright strikes from who knows trying to take his channel down, which is unfortunate. It's truly unfortunate. I never want to see that happen to anybody. I really don't. Even YouTubers that I can't stand, I still feel like they deserve a voice. And you'll hear me say that all the time. Hell, I've been saying it since the beginning, and I'm going to say it till the end. Everybody deserves a voice. Now, obviously, there are exceptions to the rule. I'm talking about within reason. And Radical Rick was on the borderline, but he was still, in my opinion, which I'm sure will differ with a lot of people, within reason. Radical Rick started going downhill, in my humble opinion, when he started reaching. He started making videos about YouTubers that didn't really deserve to be attacked, hadn't really done anything to encourage somebody making videos trying to tear them apart. People like Nintendo, John Riggs, Radical Reggie, me. Of course, I welcomed it when he talked about me because I looked at it as a learning experience. Looked at it as something that I could take and try to get better, because I will tell everybody until I'm laying on my deathbed that I am not perfect. Nor will I ever be. But I always want to strive to get better. Which in a weird, messed up way is why I appreciated Rick. His downfall was going to the well one too many times for the same situations. He would always be taking down YouTubers that were, in his words, e-begging. I don't know if he came up with that word or if he just popularized it, but he was all about stopping the e-begging scene, stopping the YouTubers who were squeezing pennies out of their audience. And in a certain light, it's admirable. Fighting a fight that nobody else dared fight in this world of cliques and established success on YouTube, where if you don't kiss the rings, then you are an outlaw. You are not part of the group, never will be, and your chance of success is shot, and they will ensure that nobody will pay attention to you. And in a weird way, it kind of sounds like a conspiracy, and from a certain light it is, but there is some truth to it. I've experienced it firsthand. So I understand what he was dealing with. I understand his frustrations. And he had something good. He just went to the well way too often until the well was dry. Oftentimes I was tired of the same old story. The Metal Jesus basement leaks. I'm trying to think, like, he did the same thing all the time. He'd go back to John Hancock's museum. He'd really rail on the Metal Jesus Rocks crew unnecessarily, undeservedly. I don't look at MJR's crew as bad people, but he noticed making videos talking about certain people brought in the views. And, oh, by the way, New Smash JT here will tell you full disclosure. Creators make videos to get views. They just do. This day and age on YouTube, they make videos to get views. Instead of railing on the same creators time and time again, he could have expanded his brand and talked about more interesting topics and done a better job on it. But honestly, it was tired. The whole situation was just tiresome. How many times can you talk about the same problem and still get people to show emotion about it? People were numb to it. I was numb to it. I'd still visit his channel every once in a while to see the latest gossip on who he's railing on now, but I would never take it too seriously because the importance of his message was devalued because he started taking a sawed-off shotgun approach to everything, where he would just, what felt like, blindly attack YouTubers that just because they had a Patreon, he was going to look for a reason to attack them. And from a content creator's perspective, someone who was in the game trying to be successful a while ago, I can see his angle. I know where he was coming from. But people aren't stupid. That's the one thing you really need to know about your audience. Don't treat them like children. Don't treat them like you can just give them the same BS every single day and they'll just keep eating it up like nothing. Radical Rick. He'll be remembered for someone who took a stand against the establishment. Wasn't afraid of what people thought about him. Sure, he took plenty of low blows, unnecessary shots. He was way off base with what felt like throwing darts at a board sometimes, making videos. But when he hit, they were bullseyes. And if he could have just kept his channel to making sure he'd talk about things that were more hit than miss, more often than not, he'd be in a far better place right now. The gaming community on the whole was getting fed up with it. I've had plenty of people reach out to me and tell me their thoughts about Radical Rick, why they feel like he's bad for the community. And I found myself defending him almost, but understanding the frustrations of people that were reaching out to me. There were a lot of contradictions with Rick. He was completely anti-e-begging. He was completely anti anyone doing anything for financial gain on YouTube. But then on his channel, the second it got monetized, he couldn't wait to put ads on it. And every single video he'd put ads. Because in Radical Rick's Bible that he wrote himself, apparently it's okay to make ad revenue off your videos. But if we're going back to the roots of what YouTube is, it's not okay to make ad revenue off your videos, because that's not what YouTube's all about. And those contradictions kind of exposed him. Oftentimes, he'd say one thing in one video, and then later on down the road, he would act like he was not a part of something. He proclaimed himself to be the leader of the e-begging movement and against the e-beggars, and then in another video he said that he had nothing to do with that he was just someone who commented on it. And it's holes like that that people started to catch on to, like, well, who are you really? What do you stand for? Why do you say one thing in one video and then something completely different in another video? And the more popular you get, the more people start to look into you. The more people try to find out anything they can. They dig up dirt about you. Ironically, the same thing that you're doing to these large channels, people started doing to you because you gained a following. People got interested. And that's the thing, like, if you're a small channel, nobody cares. You can do whatever you want. But once you start gaining an audience, people start to care. People start to pay attention. And you need to make sure all your ducks are in a row when you're going to start commenting critically against somebody, so that you don't expose yourself as a fraud. Now, when I did my video that I was leaving YouTube, see, as I'm in my car on my way to work right now, Radical Rick made a 3-part series on Smash JT leaving YouTube. And it was funny how that series went. Because initially, he was completely against me. And then the second video, he started turning and his mind started changing about me. And by the third video, he was like, Smash JT's not really that bad of a guy. Here are some things that I would recommend Smash JT do, if he still has the chance, to just be more real with his audience. And I took that to heart. I've had a lot of people tell me that I need to be more real with my audience, but it didn't really hit me until all the stars aligned, where, okay, I was stopping my YouTube channel, all the stuff's going on in my life right now. Radical Rick's like, the reason why you failed is because you faked everything. You just weren't you. And he was right. So from that perspective, I thank him. And I wish him the best. And it's truly unfortunate that the situation has gone so far that his channel might actually cease to exist. When you're going to be attacking people, and that's, to me, what it was, it wasn't critical satire. It was straight up attacks. Unwarranted, for the most part. Like, sure, sometimes, like I said, he'd hit a bullseye. But then he'd be reaching, trying to recapture the magic of those bullseyes in areas where it just it wasn't happening. But if you're going to be attacking people, you better damn well be ready to back yourself up with why you're saying what you're saying. And the problem that a lot of people had with him was he was just a voice behind a video game movie. He wasn't actually showing his face. So to a lot of people, it was just throwing out accusations and not needing to back them up. Sometimes he'd back them up and say why he felt the way he did. But other times, he would just pretend like he wasn't wrong about anything and just move on to the next topic. And that really frustrated a lot of people. I hope this is an experience that he learns from, that he doesn't take for granted, that he showed some signs of potential, and maybe finds a way to twist that into something that can continue the success. But it needs to morph. It needs to change. It needs to adapt. It's already been proven to not work for the long haul. And if he goes down as a martyr for this situation, as someone will always look to as the guy who stood up against the establishment, I mean, great. But where did that get us? You got to be smart about it. You can't just close your eyes and blindly fire shots at people. If you're going to be commenting critically, you can't hide behind satire. You need to back up your criticism with facts and rationale. And not just hate on people for the sake of hating on people. If you want to criticize, be my guest. But you want to be on YouTube to be helping people, to make them better, to not come off like you're doing it for views and personal gain. And I think for the most part, as time went on, people saw through what you were doing. They saw you for what you were. You exposed yourself by continually doing the same thing over and over and over again, never growing and adapting, never really being open to changing your mind on anything, just having a hard stance against e-beggars instead of individually looking at the context of the situation to see where it could possibly be okay, where it's not always a terrible thing for someone to turn YouTube into a business. It's not. When I did my Wood Hawker open letter, I didn't want that to be an attack on Wood. I wanted it to be something where he could watch it and be like, okay, these are things that I can improve on. These are things that not just Smash JT, but probably a lot of people in the community think about me. How do I change the perceptions of people? How do I ensure that what I'm doing isn't going to be looked at like he said could be looked at? It was just humble guidance. Now, whether Wood took it as that or not remains to be seen, but that's my intention with it. Where I felt like Radical Rick was attacking YouTubers for the sake of getting attention. And he didn't care if they changed. In fact, I would argue he never wanted anyone to change because that would ruin his entire platform. He wouldn't be able to keep attacking people, and he already knew that his other videos were failures. He talks about basketball, he talks about video games, he talks about anything. Nobody cared about it. But man, when he talked about e-begging, everybody tuned in. So he knew that was his bread and butter, but he never learned how to adapt and change it into something successful for the long run. Not yet, at least. So Rick, if you see this, which I'm sure you will, hopefully it's not too late to change anything. Hopefully you have a second life and I'm able to help you like you helped me.
Smash